I recently stumbled upon a video by Dr. Andrew McHenry on what is the evil eye on his channel Religion for Breakfast, and I was inspired to create this video.
Evil eye is the topic for today because the topic helps me see if I can understand, find answers and explanations to all such questions.
Based on a well known belief that probably everything is connected, which makes me believe in the possibility that all major theories, beliefs, and ancient wisdom regarding life and universe as a whole might just be correct. So let's begin with the theory that
The universe is probably a living and breathing organism or a life form of some kind. And we are merely multicellular building blocks, just like what cells are to us or to any other multicellular organism. Thus, I'm looking at it through the lens of biology to a great extent, for it seems to be, at the very least, explaining a lot of theories, beliefs, and understandings that are already in place. For example, if we take into consideration the idea of multiverse, then if we consider universe to be a single cell unit, it comes together to create multiverse. That is, many universe comes together to create a multiverse, which would be a kind of tissue if we compare it with biology. And many such multiverse or tissue comes together to create maybe multiverse. In biology, it would be an organ, and many organs come together to create the organ system, and many organ systems come together to create the organism itself, and then many more organisms come together to create a species, the planet, and then we come back full circle to the universe. And again, if we take it as a cell unit or a building block, so we get the gist on how it goes on and on and on,
bringing us
the theory of infinity as we add biology to the mix. So, if a universe is a cell unit of an organism, then it seems like the galaxies, the constellations, the stars, black holes, all of these things that make up the universe are somewhat like what organelles are to cells. Also take into consideration law of attraction and manifestation based on the ancient Hermetic Principles that is now made famous in the book The Secret. Only then it will be easier for us to understand and for me to explain what is evil eye. Now, for some reason, even law of attraction seems to be making much more sense to me if I look at ourselves as a building block, a multicellular building block to the universe. When we look at the source or the universe as a living organism or life form, wherein each of the cell units or building blocks that makes up an organism or the universe is not aware that it is in communication with something much more bigger than itself. Probably neither is the organism itself aware that it is in communication with each of the building blocks that makes it what it is.
Since we understand from the law of attraction that our thoughts put into the universe has the power to manifest itself. So according to this law, what we manifest into our physical reality is based upon our thoughts. Our positive thoughts manifest positive things into our world, and negative thoughts manifest negative things. So if thoughts are made up of energy and has its own unique frequency that radiates out into the universe and naturally interacts with our material world, then can we consider thoughts to be signals that we send out to the universe? So when I look at it through the biological lens, this whole thing takes me to cell signaling, which is a very similar concept that we find in every multicellular organism.
in a way, if we look at communication between the building blocks of any given organism around us and the organism itself, take for example ourselves, it works quite similarly. Each building block sends signals to the organism's brain and helps it understand what it needs. Example, if we get hurt, we feel pain, and this pain tells us that there is something wrong with a certain part of the body, or else we wouldn't know that we got hurt. You see, we won't be aware of it. So the pain acts as a signal for our brain to understand that there is something wrong. And as soon as we realize it, we do our best to provide it with what it needs to heal. Be it applying topical ointments, taking medications, or eating good and wholesome meal, just so we can heal. Thus, every cell unit, tissue, organ, and organ system is thereby in communication with the organism itself. Just how any workplace setup or office setup works, where every individual, every team is in communication with the head of the workplace, directly or indirectly. Now, in an ideal workplace, things run smoothly and the boss or the lead has a good idea of how things are running. The head of the office knows what needs to be tackled at every level, whether the employees know about it or not, and vice versa. Sometimes it is the opposite, wherein the employees have a very good idea of what needs to be tackled and they are running the show, and the head sometimes is very much unaware of what is happening. It goes both ways. It all depends on the type of communication that is being carried out that can make or break an organization.
And the same applies when it comes to communication within an organism between the cells.
And this brings me to immunology, since evil eye is the topic that we are discussing about.
Since both immune system and protection measures and rituals for evil eye seems to be working towards the same cause. They both are protection or defense tools that protects the body from all sorts of harm intended towards it. So,
what is this evil eye? Evil eye is believed to be a glare, a gaze, or a look of envy that stems from negative emotions and thoughts like greed, jealousy, etc. of one person that seems to have the potential to harm another individual in every possible way, which to me for some reason seems like how T cells protect the body from pathogens or cells that are infected by pathogens. Now, it is possible that sometimes the cells get confused and perceives a healthy living cell as a threat and thereby attacks the healthy cells thinking it is infected, thus resulting in people being susceptible to autoimmune disorders and other illnesses that has to do with the immune system.
so if you take the theory that universe is a living organism as A, law of attraction and manifestation based on Hermetism as B, immunology and study of autoimmune diseases as C, and evil eye, our understanding so far as D, then what do we get when we bring them all together?
We will see that the person who is looking at another person with envy and giving that perceived harmful gaze is somehow consciously or unconsciously perceiving the other person as threat and feels like the other person should not be doing well, that the other person should suffer and that it is them who should be in their place. I guess this is how jealousy, greed, envy, and other such negative emotions work. Thus, the negativity itself, like greed, jealousy, etc., becomes the pathogen that infects a healthy cell, which in this case is the person looking at another person with the evil eye gaze or look. So, maybe the person who is looking at another person with envy is basically sending signals to the universe that this person who is doing well for themselves, just a healthy little cell, is a threat to the universe and that it needs to die, or let's say should not do well in life. Exactly how healthy cells are perceived to be threats when in case of autoimmune diseases. Which again takes me back to the hypothetical workplace that we were talking about, wherein if one individual is being perceived as threat by others as a result of greed, envy, or jealousy just because they are doing well for themselves, then chances are that this perception turns into negative gossip and reaches the higher authorities or boss in some way or form. And the person who is at the receiving end of this envy stick, or say the evil eye, is then gradually perceived as threat by everybody around them, or most of them, and it might result in them losing their job in case the boss accepts this perception.
So, if we look at thoughts as signals as per the Hermetic Principles, then is it possible for us to say that universe helps in getting rid of the perceived threat, that is the victim, by manipulating others' perception through gossip and projection that may follow envy and jealousy, creating an army to fight the perceived threat, just like how immune system works.
So, in other words, negative thoughts that are based on envy, greed, jealousy, etc., are pathogens of some sort that infects healthy individuals, enabling them to harm others around them through this evil eye gaze, as it sends signals to the universe or the unfathomably vast living being that this individual who is at the receiving end of the evil eye is a threat, causing them to be gradually perceived as threat by other individuals too, wherein one individual projects their fears and unhealthy thoughts onto another, which might result in job loss, relationship failures, financial loss as a result of the domino effect that follows thereafter, which might then possibly result in depression and anxiety and mental health problems of other kinds. Also, as a result of such extreme losses, in some cases, it might possibly manifest as self-harm behaviors and patterns along with suicidal thoughts. So, in a way, directly or indirectly, evil eye has the potential of ending one's life. Somehow, it doesn't seem to be such a far-fetched idea after all.
Now, even if it seems so, we can only understand it better when we try to understand how does evil eye affects the victim in question, and how does the protection mechanisms and tools that are designed to ward off the evil eye work. Only after having understood this is probably when we can have an idea about what the evil eye is. So, stay tuned for the upcoming videos. Thank you. Have a great day.